Our next speaker is our keynote speaker, who is the State Senator Jerry Petrowski. Please welcome Senator Jerry Petrowski.
Najong. Honored veterans, honored guests, dear friends, it's a great honor to be asked to speak to you on this Hmong Veterans Day 2019. Today we take time to remember the sacrifices that were made by the Hmong Laos soldiers in Vietnam from 1961 through 1975, and say thank you for the commitment that the Hmong Laos soldiers made to the United States of America throughout those years. As your senator, I'm given opportunities nearly every week to address crowds with words that are powerful, words of hope, words of encouragement to our children, words of strength and commitment to our future. But the words I value most are the words that I get to share with our brave soldiers and our veterans. Let us go back to 1961. The United States' involvement in Vietnam had just begun to escalate under President John F. Kennedy as communism sought to spread across Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, in Laos, then Colonel Vang Pao and the American CIA were working together to recruit and train more and more Hmong soldiers to defeat the North Vietnamese Army and the Pathet Lao troops. In 1963, Brigadier General Vang Pao had 30,000 brave and courageous men enlisted in the fight against communism and the North Vietnamese. In 1971, the average age of a Hmong soldier recruit was just 15 years old, while some were as young as 10 years old. These brave young men provided valuable support to the United States by stopping North Vietnamese from advancing into South Vietnam, where U.S. troops were fighting. Further, their duties included interrupting the supply lines along the Ho Chi Minh Trail between the North and South Vietnam, and also traveling deep into the jungle and the mountainous regions to rescue American pilots that had been shot down. On May 14th, 1975, 44 years ago today, General Vang Pao and the last American CIA workers withdrew from Laos, marking the end of the CIA's secret war in Laos. This war came with an extraordinary cost to the Hmong citizens of Laos. Entire villages were demolished, leaving behind an estimated 12,000 war widows, 16,000 orphans, 2,000 disabled veterans, and 250,000 refugees. The Hmong Lao vet soldiers gave so unbelievably much. They lost brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. They lost so much of their lives that they had known before the war. By the end of the conflict, it is said that between 30 and 40,000 Hmong soldiers were killed in combat. Nearly 1/4 of the population of the Hmong men were gone. These brave individuals fought for General Vang Pao and for the United States CIA. But overall, they fought a dedicated fight for freedom that will never be forgotten. The story of the Hmong Lao involvement in the Vietnam War is one that you've heard me tell before, but I will tell it again and again because it is important that it gets told. I encourage everyone here today to continue to tell the story of the Hmong Lao veterans and their role in American history. It is an incredibly important story for all generations, and unfortunately, it is still unknown by so many here in the United States. Again, thank you for your sacrifice that you made for our country. Each and every one of you represents what makes the United States of America the land of the free and the home of the brave. May Almighty God bless you and keep you always, and may He continue to bless the United States of America, the beacon of freedom for the world. I have two presentations to do, so bear with me. Our governor would have liked to have been here today, but he's actually at the Hmong Veterans Home doing a groundbreaking. And so I have from him the proclamation from the office of governor. I want to thank him because he was kind enough to get this done for me before I went home last week. And so I'd like to read it to you from the state of Wisconsin, the office of governor. Whereas during the Vietnam War, the Central Intelligence Agency and the United States Armed Forces recruited, organized, trained, and assisted Hmong Lao forces to combat the North Vietnamese Army and Communist Pathet Lao forces. And whereas following the Vietnam War, the Hmong faced harsh retributions from the Communist Vietnamese and Lao governments for their involvement in the American war effort, and in turn were forced to flee their native homelands. Whereas the United States is now home to a significant community of the Hmong Lao veterans and their families after providing political asylum and citizenship because of their unique contribution to the national security interests of the United States during the Vietnam War. And whereas the Wisconsin Lao Veterans of America have established local chapters throughout the state, and those chapters have sought to serve the communities in which they are located, and they work to educate the public about the historic contributions of the Hmong Lao veterans during the Vietnam War. Therefore, I, Tony Evers, Governor of the great state of Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim May 14th, 2009 as Hmong Lao Veterans Day throughout the state of Wisconsin, and commend this observance to all of our citizens. Signed at the Capitol by the Honorable Governor of the great state of Wisconsin. This is a citation from the state of Wisconsin recognizing Lieutenant Nashua Jung. Whereas Nashua Jung, son of Lieutenant Tong Pao Jung and Va Vang, was born in Mong Muk City, Xinjiang Province. And whereas Nashua Jung joined forces with the American CIA during the Vietnam War in the secret war in Laos from 70 through 75. Where he served as Secretary of Battalion 225/4 before becoming a drill instructor and then being promoted to Lieutenant under Major General Vang Pao, Commander of the Royal Lao Armed Forces in Military Region 2. And whereas after the Lao Communists took over Laos in 1975 and imprisoned King Sinavang Batama and others that assisted the American CIA, Nashua Jung bravely continued resistance efforts in Laos until 1982. Whereas Nashua Jung and his family escaped to safety in Thailand, where he then became the supervisor at Ban Vini Camp 6, 7, and 8 for 3 years, where he helped mediate and resolve domestic conflicts among couples and families, as well as performed weddings and funeral services for the community. During this time, he also worked with Thai commanders to save the lives of the resistance fighters still in Laos. And in 1988, he served as president of the Panakimo camp, and whereas Nashua Jung arrived in Wausau, Wisconsin on December 15th, 1989 with his family, where they still reside today. And since arriving in the United States, Nashua Jung has held countless positions, including president of the Hmong 18 Clan Council in Marathon County from 2001 to 2008, Shung Clan President Representative of the Wisconsin branch of the United Hmong International 18 Clan Council Incorporated from 1998 to 2008, Vice President of the Wisconsin Lao Veterans of America Incorporated from 2006 to 2013, and his current position as President of the Wisconsin Lao Veterans of America Incorporated. Now let it there be resolved that Governor Tony Evers, Senator Scott Fitzgerald, Senator Roger Roth, Senator Robert Coles, Senator Jerry Petrowski, and Senator Pat Teston do hereby recognize Lieutenant Nashua Jung for his continued service throughout his life to his family, to his clan, and to the Hmong people during his time in Laos, in Thailand, and now in the United States of America. Signed at the Capitol on May 14th for presentation by the Honorable Governor of the great state of Wisconsin, Tony Evers.
Once again, thank you, Senator Chair Petrowski. Thank you for the memories that you just recall. I understand, and I know for sure that a lot of our young kids probably forget about it, but you know, this won't be your last year here. I'm sure you're going to be here next year and the following year and many more to come, right? So, thank you.